I am super excited to bring on our next guest. He's the head coach and GM of the Poco Trailblazers, Greg Ross. Greg, how are you doing?
Good, guys. How you guys doing?
Oh, we're solid.
Good.
Actually, I'm a little sick today, but I don't know if you can tell my voice, but
Going around, man. It's going
yeah,
around.
it's going around, Matt. Even down here, it's going around. It's
Practices and 12 guys or whatever. It's just brutal.
No, I was practicing today. It was like I was hawking up a lung in between drills here. I was like, fuck. Messing
You
me
guys
up.
got 3 goalies there, or you got 2?
Yeah, we got
You could-
3. So luckily I'm
you could
able to
hide
kind
out a
of
little
rotate
bit.
out a little bit.
Yeah, you could hide out a little bit.
Yeah, I was kind of camping out in between the 2 nets today, which I don't usually like doing, but today was a little bit of an exception. So
Brutal.
yeah. So
we'll kind of, we'll kind of just get right into it here. We start most of our interviews off by asking just what is your hockey background as a kid? When did you first get into hockey? Who got you into hockey? What's kind of just your journey that's led you up to this point?
Yeah, I played my whole life. I loved it until I didn't, which is actually kind of it's a nice point. My dad played in the Quebec League. My great grandfather worked for the Montreal Canadiens, so it's kind of always been it's been life, right? Played in New Westminster when I was a kid. Kyle Turris was there those years before he went to BWC. And then we had you guys might not even know this, but it used to be 2 years midget.
Yeah.
So it was in the middle of we only played 1 year Pee-wee. Because they changed it, so it would be 3 years midget. So the second year Adam, it stayed together. So that was the jump. So we moved to Langley just based on, now it's a little different. You guys Mission guys, you know that. There's 3 provincials now.
Yeah.
There wasn't before. It was just your first round playoffs would be 1 against 64, and it would be an absolute bloodbath. So we moved to Langley for my Bantam years, and we had good teams those years. And it was before the academies and the zone stuff really started.
Yeah. It's
and
a
then
generation
my first
us,
year
right?
midget was the first year zone. Yeah, it's totally different. So my first year midget was the first year of my zone was the Vancouver Southeast Flames or whatever. So most of the guys wanted to play junior. That was kind of the big thing, right? Everybody was scared of it. Nobody wants to try anything for the first time, right? So I was in Delta for and you could play as a 15-year-old in playing in junior B. So guys would just go and do it, right? So I was in Delta for a while and then got hurt. And my shoulder's always been bad, but it was just something where it was so easy at that age to fall out of love with the game. So I played the next couple of years and I would try to go back, but it was almost like the COVID year for me, kind of. It was just a year where it wasn't a lot of hockey. And you're getting at that age where you're you start hanging out with girls and doing different things, right? So that's kind of the thing for me. There's, I skated with Ridge the year after, and I was very much what I always talk about people now, you're better to be in the league than try and win. You know what I mean? For some guys, it's just a better fit. I never wanted to do that. I just care about winning so much that it was just, let's go to places. Delta won 2 years in a row, and then Ridge went to the final. So it was just kind of one of those things, right? And then a couple of years after that, I just really didn't want to play anymore. I skated with Mission for a little bit when Aldergrove was getting started, and I just had no interest, right? It was just one of those things. It was just about 5 years later, I was oh boy, I want to play now, and it's too late, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But coaching was something I always wanted to do. So it was I think there's coaches that'll probably tell you that I would have been a better coach than a player because I didn't like playing defense. So.
Oh yeah. Fair enough. No, I was gonna say you see that a lot with me and Owen have gone through the junior years now, and we've seen players come and go, and you sometimes see a guy where you're why the hell is this guy quitting? This guy was a great hockey player, but if you fall out of love with the game, I completely agree with you. It's just you don't have the motivation to go on and push yourself every day. It's you got other stuff going on. People want to get life started.
Like it's every day, right? You know, and it's something where the schedule is a little bit wild then too. You know, I mean, you had your consistent like Delta Richmond still the same night in the same ice time in the same rinks, but like, you know, I think there was 9 teams. Like you just playing everybody all the time and one of those things. So yeah, as I say, for me, that was just kind of the path, right? And then I got it's kind of a weird story. Like I always wanted to coach. I tell you guys this now, and like if you guys want to coach, get into it as soon as you're done playing, because what happens is it's tough because you're never going to get a coaching job if you've never coached before.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, and when you've played at a high level or you want to coach at a high level, as fun as coaching like U11C guys is, like, it's not getting you what you need for what you want. Right. It took me a long time. My brother was coaching with Jerry Leeper, the GM in Surrey, just 1 year in Cloverdale. So I was kind of went out and like messed around, and I thought it was kind of cool. I felt like one of the boys again. But then the next, that summer, my dad passed, and me and my 2 brothers are like, well, why don't we just get a team and do this together? Like it was just about timing. Cause we didn't, you know, we're getting older, and, you know, me and my brother both have kids now. So it's just one of those things. Right. And then it just kind of went crazy. You know, I mean, it's funny because like the age group that I really got going in is the guys in the league now. Yeah. So there's not anybody that we play. It just kind of seems like I've gone with them, which is kind of cool. But yeah, now it's not the coaching job it once was. I'll tell you that.
I was gonna ask you, how do you think? I think you've been in the league. How much experience do you have in the PJ?
So this
now?
is my second season. Yeah, this is my second season as a head coach, and then I was on the bench in Surrey the year before because my brother was there with Andy, and we were there for about maybe 15 games, and then this whole thing started to back off. Just because of, you know, we knew this new team was coming. So it was something where it was kind of, they politely asked and we were going to kind of do it anyways. Like it was just something that just didn't make a lot of sense. Right. But I mean, the league changes every year now. You know, I mean, it seems like we're adding a team a year.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, I mean, it's much different for sure.
I was going to say the change from, you know, back when you were involved in the league as a player versus how much it's developed now.
Not even close. I mean, although I mean, I think I made a comment in Mission just a couple of weeks ago that like there might be 60 guys in the league right now that could have played in that league because there wasn't the options that there was. You know, like the Giants used to send guys to the Delta Ice Hawks, the same facility, right? Like it was very different, tougher. But I mean, I think the league over the years has kind of got a bit of a bad rap, and it's so totally not what it once was. I mean, you guys know from playing even in the KI, like it's not what it, you know, everybody talks about it. And, you know, I could go into countless things where guys stay and where they are opt to not go, like that. It's a different feel. Right. And especially now with, I mean, this coaching groups are getting a little bit younger, or kind of matching what you guys would have seen before. But yeah, it's much different. I'll tell you, I would hate to see how they called penalties today in that game, because we already get like 14 power plays a night.
It's completely different.
Yeah. Well, how did that transition kind of happen then for you? I mean, obviously you said you started with Surrey and then heard about this whole Poco getting a team. So how does your transition go from coaching minor hockey to getting into junior and building an entire team from scratch with the Poco Trailblazers?
Yeah. So I coached the Bantams here for 5 years. We won provincials the last year I was here. And the year previous to that, Rob's son, Robbie's dad owns a team. And we all take different credit for it. I think during that year, I probably bugged Rob about 20 times being like, hey, like, we were getting 400 or 500 people to midget games on a Saturday night. Like, we got to do this. And then down the line, everybody takes credit for it differently. So, but yeah, and then it came together quick. Like I think we submitted in like September of that year. The vote was like December, and we announced January like 26th. Wow. And then we were playing that September. So it was like super quick. I mean, the day we announced was the first time I'd ever seen the dressing room space. And it was legitimately a concrete room with like 3-inch pipes out of the ground. Yeah. So it's just something like came together super fast. I think the Coast announced like maybe 6 months after us, and they started, a month ago. Right. So, it might have been part of the reason that last year went the way it did. I mean, Owen, we played you guys tight twice. Like, I think there's a lot of people have a lot more belief in what the team was than it was. But man, did we find some like absolutely comical ways to lose hockey games. Like, it's just something that it's like, I joked the other night in Port Moody, Tate Humphries lost his mind and was getting a double minor, and Evan Fidel scored on his own net on the delayed penalty. And I was like, that's the only way we didn't find a way to lose last year. It was legitimately the only way. I've never seen it. So, but yeah, I mean, the one day when I get permission one day, I can't wait to share the folder of the logos and the names and the different colors. Like, it's just a process that was unlike something else. We had some great ones, some bad ones. The colors kind of sunk in pretty quick. But yeah, I mean, I still have it on my computer. I'm like, I need to free up some space, but I'm not deleting that. Cause you see some of that stuff. Like, they had the one with when the Colorado Avalanche got there, and then they posted like all the names that it could have been and all the different logos. And we're all like, oh, that's sick. So it'd be cool one day down the line for somebody to see it. I just know you're going to get pumped on what you didn't pick, right?
Were you pretty heavily involved in that, or?
We were involved in all of it. Nice. Which was cool. I probably picked fights that I didn't need to. Like, I was really passionate about one name specifically. I was really passionate about, and then I was just kind of like, whatever, like pick whatever you want. But we saw it all, and luckily my brother's works at a hockey shop, so like we were getting samples and we were doing all that stuff. So it was cool. It's kind of like when you buy your first beer league set of jerseys. It's like, this is awesome, and then you see somebody else come out with something else, and you're like, oh man. But that was the thing. We wanted it to be unique, and I've always loved the purple and yellow. So now if we can just find a way to get a black jersey, I think I'd be happy.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, I mean, I think your setup with your jerseys are pretty sweet. And then obviously I had the chance to, play at your home rink last year, brand new facility. How sweet has that been, having like a brand new facility and to come with the brand new team and just, everything getting finally put together? What was that like?
Well, and there's a couple things, right? Like Brad Westemare here, they got a new turf fields. Soccer BC's moving their facilities here. Like, and I'm missing so many things. Like, I live in Langley, so I mean, I hear about them when I get to the rink. But the facility is amazing. Kind of the note to show you, like, I think crowds are down a little bit this year, but I always say, like, don't judge your crowds until the middle of October on. Like, everybody's still got summer stuff going on. You know what I mean? But like the last two home games last year, we were a 6-win hockey team at that point, and we had 900 against White Rock, which we ended up winning. And then it was like 90. Yeah, I think it was like we were just short of 1,000 in the last home game of the year, and like we were 7-40. So like the building itself is sweet, but like to get people in the building it makes it even more, right? I always laugh, like I watched the first game of the year. Delta played Langley at Sun God Arena, and it's just like the joke that it's yellow T-shirt night, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, our league's never selling that building out, but it's just one of those things.
Night,
it just kind of makes it something else. The city was really good to us with the arena or in the dressing room. There's not much we don't have here. But again, like, you know, it's something where we kind of felt like we succeeded last year in some way, just because you put it together that quickly. You know, it's insane, right? And then I had an Instagram post about how it was time to change things on the ice, and man, we had a summer. Everybody talks about regular seasons games here. I mean, I just can't imagine what a playoff game would be like here.
That's awesome. That's great.
Especially if the playoffs stay the way they are right now, 4 or 5 us on the coast, like there'd be more people that would see that series than the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah, probably.
Two of the most, would you say, two of the most supported teams in the league? I don't know. I don't really follow the attendance numbers.
Probably one and two.
The coast is, I mean, and I'm going to offend people on the coast when I say it, but like, there's not a lot to do, you know. So to have those like,
pretty small town,
Sunday nights, right? Like, you know, plus you get, I mean, you guys know, like you still get the parents and brothers and sisters and girlfriends going to games. Like that's why games look full in small buildings, you know. Even though White Rock's rink in the playoffs is sick. I hate playing there because it's like the size of a 3-on-3 rink, but like that place in the playoffs is sick because everybody's right on the glass. But yeah, like the coast is very similar build to us, very similar arena setup. So it's, I mean, I like it because it's a little bit behind you. You're not, I don't have guys catching girls' eyes in the corners, but maybe some guys, I don't know.
It's half the fun, man.
Well, I mean, exactly. I'm not taking it away. I'm just saying, at least it's not all 4 corners.
That's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe talk a little bit about, I mean, last year, like you said, you guys were a 7-win team. And I mean, talk about what went into this offseason. You have a very, very different group coming in this year. I mean, you have some good returning players. Marcus Jack, your captain. I believe you coached him in growing up as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's probably awesome. And so what's it been like?
And Tristan Dixon I've had for like years in a row. Like it's kind of crazy now how many years it is. But I mean, we brought back probably a couple more than I think we thought we were going to. But guys earned their way back. So that was what we wanted. Some of the stuff in the summer was really interesting. Like it started with Derek LaRue, just the type of guy that you need in game 49 and 50 and 51. You know what I mean? It's just that type of guy that I think he's chopped everybody in the league at least once. And then just little things happen. Like we played in that spring league. Owen, did you ever play in that league when you were playing that? Like,
I played one game, I think.
Yeah. So like we had 2 teams in it, and it was just like we had a bunch of White Rock guys, and it was just. But what it did is it kind of allowed us some space to get to know some guys. So Bailey Wanna started skating with us. That was a little bit of a longer process. Ryan and I went to watch the Northeast Chiefs in the playoffs because we had a pretty good idea we were going to get Charlie Gardner because he played for us last year. And I think Gards has got like 14 points, so I'm glad we did.
Yeah, it's still on
but we went to the game and like we weren't even going to go. Like the weather was brutal. We weren't going to drive. It was like a 3:00 start on a Friday afternoon. And we ran into Tate Humphreys and Lucas Baxter, just like randomly. Ryan knows them from Hockey Shop. I knew who they were, but didn't know them for anything. And then we were kind of standing. We lost our spot. We were standing across the ice, and I was like, "Why don't you just text them? Like, get them to come skate with us once. Like, tell them to come have some fun, right?" And then a couple weeks later, we knew we were getting them, and then Braden Wynn's buddies with them. And that was he wasn't quite sure what was going to happen in Lethbridge. So, I mean, it was kind of nice to add it that way. And then just some little things like the South Delta guys, Trollin and Fletcher Lucas, and those guys that affiliated with us last year that just, they want to be in the lineup and they'll work, but also they understand where they are in that lineup at times. I'm sure I'm missing somebody. We got Kieran Corin, the goaltender, really late. Kieran's been a dog for us. We allow too many goals right now, but Connor Hughes had a breakaway from 120 feet the other night with 5 seconds left. You just need those little things. And then we just added Brady Reed, another guy that's probably slashed everybody in the league. But the truth is, and I'll say this out loud, like, we played Richmond a couple weeks ago. That's what you got to look at. I haven't seen Ridge yet. But that's what you got to build off of. You got to look at those teams and be like, how do I beat them? And if you get lucky, you get a chance to play them. Really, you guys know you got to get lucky sometimes, right? So we got a lot of points we still need to get, but it was just kind of an odd summer, and we probably missed on some guys, honestly. Like, there's some guys playing in other spots. Like, it could look like a bigger change than it is. And Marcus Jack, I have to talk about him, even though it's really hard for me to talk about him. I've seen that he was like 4'4" when I met him. Just one of those guys that he's slowly, day by day here, going to get more and more respect throughout this league. Like, he just works and cares so much about being here. I could talk all day about Marcus and stuff like that. So I shouldn't.
Well, I kind of have a question more so coming to the the daily operation. So you're the head coach and GM, right? At the same time.
I'm the head coach. My brother's the general manager.
Your brother's the GM.
But my brother's the general manager. Yeah.
But you're probably pretty involved in a lot of the decisions that take place, correct?
All of it. Yeah. Generally, we kind of have it as like a 4-guy group. Me and my brother, Rob, who's our governor. We have 5 other owners that are in kind of in and out. They have certain responsibilities. And Anthony, one of them, he's our director of hockey. So we kind of deal with all the organizational stuff. Hockey, Ryan and I talk to that guy too much. He's probably so sick of me. But we've been doing it together for a long time. And I just feel like it's a little bit like there's some stuff sometimes just because it's your brother, right?
Of course.
My twin brother Jeff's been on the bench with me for 8 years now. He's a rock for me. Anywhere I ever go, that's where I want him. I want him with me. It's a dynamic.
It's a family business then.
It is, yeah. We've added last year. Ryan was on the bench with us. And then this year it just got too much. Like, it was, the game day stuff is pretty crazy. It's a little bit different around the league, right? Because I always bring up Richmond and Delta because they've had those times forever. Like Richmond's had the same volunteers forever, right? Yeah. So we had people that were here last year. They're here half the games, they're not, and we kind of always jumping in and filling in for those spots. But it's a little different when you have people in the crowd versus not, right? You don't.
Right. So when you're working with the family, when you got to make some tough decisions, is there, a little bit of arguing that goes on, or how does that kind of filter down?
Yeah, it happens. I think we all know for the most part that we're all in it for the same reasons. I care about winning so much. That was why last year was so hard for me. It was something where you I lost 4 games the year before. Yeah. And then, we won 7 times last year. It was just very different. But, it's no different than any other guy on our staff. I brought Ty Wittard on our staff this year. He's a 21-year-old. But Ty's just, me and him probably get into it more than Ryan. Me and Ryan. So, it happens, but usually it happens over the phone on the drive home. He blames me.
It's
all good. It's all good.
Fair enough.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Well, so Joe, I'm not sure if you have much else, but I only have a couple. I got 2 more questions here. So my first one that I'll ask now is just what are your expectations for the team and for yourself, not only this year, but for the future as well? What are your short-term and long-term goals?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, with the group this year, we want to make the playoffs. I think you're crazy if you don't want to, or you don't think you're gonna. I mean, that's why I think we've been so active. It's where we want to be. But the funny thing is, I told our guys this year, beat everyone. Make sure you beat every team. That will go so far down the line for the organization, regardless of who's here in the years to come. Like, we played Delta Friday night. Like, we owe Delta one so bad. Like, we had a bad one at home last year that it caused a lot of problems. But it's just something where if you beat everybody once, it carries on. We got to drop that fear of some of those teams. You know, for me, the first thing I said to our guys, we had like a meeting in the first week, and I said, there's 2 guys that are in this room that have been where I want to be. You know, I've since I was a little kid, I wanted to be involved in the Western Hockey League. So I mean, that's my thing. You know, it's something that happens or it doesn't, but I'm quite happy where I am right now. We have a group that is just the biggest group of beauties. It causes some problems sometimes, obviously, but you know, like it's just, you can just see it. You know, you feel it when you walk in the room. But yeah, I mean, I think organizationally, obviously, the tier 1 thing is kind of lingering. You know, the information is slowly got out here and there, but the other thing too is nobody knows. Obviously, we've got a couple weeks away from this NCAA vote, and it's just, who knows what hockey's going to look like. You know, I mean, I think the biggest thing for all of us is, you know, surviving and making sure we're still a part of the game. For our players, I want more of our guys going to play at school in the U.S. Like, I think it's totally a thing that can happen. And probably in some cooler places than if you got like sick D1 rides. You know, like there was a guy the other day that was like handing out cards. He's from Oregon. Like, yeah, that'd be sweet. You probably have 7 different jerseys their football team does. You know, so like, but yeah, I mean, like, it's just one of those things that, you know, if guys are willing to go and do those things now, like the opportunities are all over the place. I just saw somebody today, like, they got a D1, maybe it was Dryden Kuramoto. He's going like Tennessee State or something. They get D1.
Yeah,
like that's
another one of my buddies that I train with in the summer just committed to Tennessee State as well. So I think they're doing they're a new program next year, but
I didn't even know they had a team.
The first But
SFU is still trying hard. Got one in Tennessee, but SFU is still working hard.
I know they are. Yeah, I hear about it every day.
No, I think I agree with you. I think even if it's ACHA or NCAA D3 or whatever, it's going to pick up. The college game is going to, more and more Canadians are going to come down here and try and play college, especially if, you know, it becomes more affordable, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, you know. I mean, you guys know very well, like, the cost of this game has gone crazy. And it's something that, you know, some of the educations might have been passed up so that guys could play in certain places, which is too bad. But what are we going to do? That's kind of how it is right now, right?
Well, yeah, I don't know if you know, but I'm down in I'm in Missouri right now playing ACHA hockey as well. So it was a pretty big step, but I was relatively happy with the outcome just because of how financially doable it was compared to like going to school back home. It's almost the same. So it's if it becomes more reachable for more players, it's nothing but good for the game, right?
Absolutely. How's the hockey? Is it what you expected, or
it's not bad. It's what I expected as a first year program, I think. Because we're so new, we didn't really get a really strong schedule. So we're winning a lot. Like, we're 5-1 right now. And I expect us to like win quite a bit, especially with the guys that we got. But as we kind of develop, like even next year, we're probably going to play mostly top 20 teams in our schedule. Like this year, we're playing teams that are like 30, 40. It's like, we should be able to beat most of them. But then next year, and as the team develops, and we'll get more guys, because now we're like 75% Canadians. So we'll get more guys from up in Vancouver and Alberta and stuff. So if we can even get better and then develop and get a better schedule, it's going to be. And then we'll see what the NCAA vote is as well, because that can affect us too.
it's gonna have guys tearing it up down there at some point. Like,
oh yeah,
guys that play 5 years in the Western League, playing 4 more at school, just absolute men. Like, yeah. I mean, I think that's going to be a good thing, though. Like, I think that's going to be a good thing. I think that both. I don't think there's going to be an argument from Canadian or American players, really. Like, everybody wants to play. You know, the opportunities, and the U.S. does a really good job at like, you know, they do some dumb stuff too, like with the scholarship numbers and stuff like that. But they're really good at like making sure that you know, the American player in any sport is protected. I'm sure somebody from the US would tell me I'm wrong. But you know, something that I think it could be good for everybody. And the other thing for me is I just think about how many more NCAA Division I schools we may see. You know, who's to say that we don't see some of these football powerhouses be like, yeah, sweet. Like,
why not?
Some of the Southern schools.
Right? Like, can you imagine SEC down there? Like, it's crazy.
It'd be unreal. It's actually a cult down here. How many people follow it? It's crazy. Like, I didn't realize until I moved down here. It's nuts how many people follow that stuff. It's almost more popular than NFL.
Oh yeah. Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah,
it's insane. I just wish I could finally finish my rebuild on the college football game, because if I can do that with the national champ, man,
it'd be awesome, man.
Awesome. Joe, you got much else here, buddy?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a really solid interview with you, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just finish up with one last thing here. Do you have any favorite must-tell story from your career about a player, anything hockey related,
or memory or something
that you gotta leave us with?
You know what? I'm gonna go with. I want to make sure I'm talking about our guys. I think it's important to that.
For sure.
I gotta go back to him. Man, he's gonna be so mad at me. I just can't understand how guys that play in this city don't want to be Marcus Jack.
Yeah.
But you should see the kids that chase this guy around the rink. And now it's probably because they're the same size as him. But just something like, you know, we've been doing post-game interviews and stuff on our video. Like, everybody's trying to up their game for what might be coming, right?
Yeah.
And like, guys were signing autographs, and it wasn't really his turn. He was running upstairs to go do post game, and he just said, like, go ask your parents if you can hang out for 5 minutes, and I'll come back and I'll spend all this time. And just, this guy was like, he's still in his gear for an hour after the game. Like, it's just what we talk about, like what the game's supposed to be, right? And I mean that you see it all over the place. But it was cool that it happened within the last couple of weeks. And then the guys made him shit guy of the week. So I don't know, like, I don't know how that worked. But, you know, I kind of vetoed that. I'm like, no, like, you know, the stuff he's doing. But just those type of things. It's not just him now. Guys, you know, have kind of taken on that. And it's going to cost me less pucks, probably, guys throwing pucks up and warm up if they're going to go sign autographs after games.
That's good, man.
That's awesome. No, that's great to hear. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been a great interview. I really appreciate you coming on. You've been super, super supportive of us from the start with this podcast, reaching out, and that means a lot. So thank you so much, and we're glad that
thank you.
You share the vision for growing the game and giving these leagues the exposure they deserve.
Absolutely, boys. What you guys are doing is awesome. So keep it up. Hopefully I can do another one with you maybe in April after something happens.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to. That sounds awesome. But awesome. So thank you so much, Greg.